Our visitors this evening are Pastor Santiago Condori and Chenoa Stock. Pastor Condori is the rector of the Sicuani Bible Seminary, and Chenoa is the PCUSA missions facilitator in Peru. Welcome to you both. Thanks for joining us this evening.
I'm just going to tell Pastor Santiago. Le estaba presentando, Pastor. Me voy a presentar y ya empezamos con ustedes. Okay?
Está bien. Okay.
Yes, good evening. Good to see some. I think I've seen some of your faces before, so great to see old and new faces. Thank you again for the invitation to be with you all again, and also for inviting our partner, which is just a great connection. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I don't want to take any more time. So I will be interpreting for Pastor Santiago, and he is in the seminary now with some of the students. He thought it would be great that you all could see some of the students. I think some of them will speak and kind of present themselves. So we'll just start off. Entonces, adelante, Pastor. Y en frases cortitas, más o menos, para que recuerde.
Ya.
Adelante.
Buenas noches en el nombre del Señor.
Good evening in the name of God.
Estamos aquí, profesores y estudiantes.
So here together, we are the professors and students with you all.
Ya les voy a pasar que lo vean también a los estudiantes.
So I'm going to pass it around here so you can see everyone who's here. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches, hermana. Buenas noches, hermanos, a todos. Hola, ¿no? Buenas noches.
Good evening, brothers and sisters of Woodland. Ya, entonces, el pastor Timo ahorita se puede presentar sobre el seminario o cómo ha planificado, ¿no? Estos 10 minutos más o menos, ¿no?
Vamos a empezar con un representante del Consejo Estudiantil.
Okay, so first to speak will be the president of the student
Voy a dar lugar al estudiante Juvenal Lopinta.
So this is Juvenal, the president of the student committee.
Muy buenas noches con cada uno de ustedes. Que el Señor les bendiga.
Good evening, God bless you.
En representación del seminario de todos los estudiantes, estoy aquí para poder presentar los casos, especialmente de los dormitorios que nosotros tenemos.
I'm here just to present, representing the students, and also to present to you some of the things that we're doing.
Ciertamente es una necesidad dentro del seminario que no contamos con una adecuada habitación para dormir. Y en estos tiempos de friaje, muchos de nosotros están enfermándose, ¿no? A causa de eso también.
And so he just wanted to present a couple of projects that they're looking into and kind of needs and or challenges. And so one of those is the men's dormitory that has been on the list for quite some time. And he's saying, especially as the cold season is coming there, they're moving into winter. A lot of them, come down with colds and get sick a little easier because that is lacking.
Y en eso nosotros realmente dependemos de Dios, y pues nuestra oración fue que nos pueda conceder por medio de ustedes lo que es la construcción del auditorio, que diga del salón de varones, ¿no? Que se le conoce también pabellón de varones.
And knowing that all depends on God, our prayer with you all and for you all is kind of a prayer for this construction of the men's dormitory.
Uh-huh. Y esto fue una señal de parte de Dios que nos está concediendo, y estamos muy contentos que ustedes también pueden ser parte de nosotros y todos servir a Dios de esta manera.
And it just gives us joy and pleasure that you all have been a part of a lot of their projects and have walked with them. And this is why they share this now.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, you walk together with God together in these projects.
Y ciertamente eso es lo que está pasando aquí en nuestro seminario, pues, ¿no? Y esperamos vuestro apoyo en esto.
And so now in the seminary, this is what we're waiting, is to move and pray for this project to happen and begin
Y nosotros
with support.
Y nosotros como seminario seguiremos orando para que el Señor pueda conceder lo que necesitamos. Creo que eso sería todo.
And we, the students, just will continue to pray to God that we will be able to find what is necessary to move into this project.
Gracias. Muchas gracias a ustedes. Gracias.
God bless you. Thank you.
Gracias.
Luego va a hablar el hermano Juvenal, él es superintendente y también docente acá en el seminario.
So next is also Juvenal, and he's the superintendent as well as a teacher in the seminary. Hola.
Buenas noches, hermanos en el Señor. Que tengan una bonita noche.
Good evening. Hope you all are having a great night.
Mi nombre es Juvenal Calizaya Quispe.
My name is Juvenal Quispe.
Gracias por este tiempo que disponen, hermanos, para con nosotros. Estamos sumamente agradecidos por este tiempo, hermanos.
We give thanks and are just very grateful that we are having this time together. Thank you.
El cargo que yo ocupo es superintendente o también capellán, ¿no? Más conocido también.
Okay, so my position, my role here is the superintendent of the seminary.
A la vez, mi persona me encargo de la caja del seminario, de la administración económica.
So I'm also the administrative assistant, kind of doing the accounting and money part of the seminary.
Entonces, en todo caso, a veces el seminario, como desde aquellos tiempos, ha sido siempre autosustentado, hermanos.
So from years in the past, normally the seminary has been self-sustaining, has been a self-sustainable institution.
En estos años, la pandemia a todos nosotros, tanto al seminario y a todo el estudiante, nos ha afectado en gran manera.
But as you can imagine, with the pandemic, we've all been affected as students, as a seminary, due to the pandemic, yeah.
Por ello, nuestros estudiantes también tienen dificultades en poder cubrir sus mensualidades y asimismo nosotros como seminario no podemos cancelar también los pagos a nuestros profesores, pastores también que trabajan en el centro.
And so due to that, it has made it more difficult for students to pay their monthly tuition, as well as for the seminary to pay the professors and the teachers who come in.
En todo caso, hermanos, nosotros rogarlos en el nombre del Señor que sigan orando por nosotros, por este centro, ya que el seminario se encarga o está trabajando para formar a siervos y siervas que puedan trabajar en el lado del Señor.
And so we would just ask that your continued prayers, and we give thanks for your prayers and ask for your continued prayers, that you are with us as we form and train these future pastors here.
Muchas gracias, hermanos. Solamente esa sería mi palabra. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
Bien, hermana Chenoa, hermano Gary, hermanos que los veo acá por la pantalla. Buenas noches con cada uno de ustedes.
So good evening, everybody here on the screen.
Bueno, hemos iniciado en enero del 2022 con el programa vacacional.
So this past January of 2022, they were able to begin kind of their summer program of the seminary.
Hemos tenido 44 estudiantes.
Which brought 44 students.
Y a partir de 28 de febrero del 2022, Hemos iniciado con el programa residencial, bachiller en teología.
And so from February 18th, after that program, the summer program ended, they've had their kind of residence, their program in residence at the seminary.
Tenemos
For a bachelor's, for the bachelor's degree in theology.
Tenemos 26 estudiantes.
And that is with 27 students.
Trabajamos 3 profesores permanentes y 5
Sure.
invitados.
So there are 3 permanent professors and then 5 that are invited in for certain courses.
Y con esta situación de la pandemia, el seminario se ha visto en una dificultad en cuanto a lo que es la economía.
And as was mentioned before, just with the pandemic, the seminary has entered into kind of this struggle, this challenging time economically.
Hemos tenido que subir la pensión de los estudiantes.
So they had to raise the tuition of the students.
Y con todo eso no estamos cubriendo los gastos, ¿no? Y los estudiantes tienen dificultades en pagos de mensualidades.
Yeah, and so even with that, they're not always able to cover the costs, or as mentioned before, some students aren't able to pay their tuition.
Y también tenemos problemas para pagar a los profesores. Como ellos no pagan, entonces no tenemos con qué pagar.
Right, and then also that affects how we can pay our professors.
Y agradezco a Ola por vuestro apoyo que siempre nos han brindado. Gracias a ello tenemos, adelante.
Perdón. And I just give thanks to Woodlands, you all, for your support that you've been giving continuously over these years, and especially these past years.
Gracias a ello tenemos el nuevo comedor, cocina, dormitorio de damas.
So because of that, we have a new dining area, kitchen, ladies, living, sleeping area because of your support.
Y muchos estudiantes también que han recibido un fondo de becas ya han concluido.
And then many of the students who you all supported through tuition, supporting their tuition, they've finished that support. They've completed that.
Aunque no todos, la mayoría de nuestros estudiantes están involucrados en el ministerio y lo han instalado ya como pastores probando.
So as of now, the majority of the students are now kind of in, I don't know how you would call it, kind of practical work, where they're going out to churches and I'm trying to think how you, pastors, not testing pastors, but so they can go out and try it out and be in the practical work. I'm sure there's a better phrase. But,
Evening service.
yeah, probando, yeah. Something like that, kind of, it's like practical work. I think that's.
Iniciándose en ese ministerio, ¿no? Como en prueba. Entonces, poco a poco lo van a nombrar pastor oficial.
So they're, I think, kind of going into the churches to try it out little by little, and then eventually they will become officially, pastors. Mm-hmm.
Y oramos, hermanos, para que el seminario siga adelante y rogamos también que ustedes cooperen con sus oraciones para que podamos continuar con los proyectos que tenemos.
So now, as has been mentioned, I think the biggest thing is just the prayers, lifting up prayers that the seminary continue on and continue functioning and working and serving these students, and prayers with you that these projects that have been mentioned can also kind of get started up as well.
Las nuevas aulas están construidas, pero por la pandemia no hemos podido realizar ninguna actividad no hemos podido adquirir fondos.
So the classrooms, I think that they've been working on for a while, have been completed, but they just haven't been able to do anything in them in terms of activities or anything just yet because of lack of funds.
Y tenemos planificado para el aniversario en septiembre concluir con el revestimiento de las nuevas aulas.
And so by the anniversary celebration of the seminary in September, they're hoping to be able to really finish up. It's not decorating, but more than that, but kind of getting things moved into these classrooms to be able to be utilized by September.
Y ya hemos comprado algunos materiales como tablas, está secando.
And so they have materials to be in order to do that.
Y en el segundo piso tenemos planificado, proyectado, construir el dormitorio de los varones.
And so on the second floor of those classrooms is where they are hoping to construct the men's dormitory.
Esto es nuestra prioridad, ¿no? Para que los varones también tengan su comodidad, así como las señoritas los tienen.
And so that's one of the bigger project priorities, just so the men also have the privacy that the women have now. And comfort as well, and kind of comfortable space.
Y otra de las prioridades también es el auditorio, que tanto estamos soñando. Y nuestros cultos de clausura, graduación, lo llevamos al aire libre.
So the other thing on their kind of priority list is building an auditorium where they could do their graduation ceremonies and all of the other events, because right now everything's done kind of in outdoors. We don't have any.
Y gracias a Dios, hasta aquí estamos bien. Felizmente no tenemos infectados con COVID, algunas gripes sí. Y aunque gripe sí tenemos, ¿no? De vez en cuando, pero gracias a Dios no nos hemos infectado de COVID.
So we give thanks that as of now and for a while, we haven't had any COVID cases within the seminary. They've kind of kept in their bubble. Maybe colds and kind of flu type symptoms, but nothing, or flu, but nothing, no COVID. And they're grateful for that.
Y de manera personal, mi esposa ya está mejor, recuperándose, y eso me da mucho gusto.
Yes, and kind of on a personal note, his wife, for those who don't know, had COVID a while ago, and it just really affected her for a while. And he's saying now she is thankfully recovering and doing much better.
Muy bien.
Y doy gracias a Dios también por cada uno de los estudiantes. Gracias a ellos se hace la chacra, y ahora también tenemos planificado la clausura el 26 de junio.
So I also give thanks for each and every student who is here. Part of, I don't know how many of you have went to the seminary, but they also have, a farm kind of, and it's kind of like a little farm. So the students also do a lot of the harvesting and sowing. And so they've been working on that right now. They're in the sowing process. So they've been working on that. And also been working on kind of, I guess they're having like a mid-graduation ceremony on June 26th. So they've all been working hard with that.
Y para ello también estamos organizando una actividad de venta de comidas donde nos visitarán los hermanos de las iglesias. Y de esta manera estaremos clausurando el día 26 de junio el ciclo de estudios 2022-1.
21.
2022, primer bloque.
Uno,
segundo
sí,
bloque en septiembre, ¿no?
He perdido dos, ya.
Yeah.
And And so, again, to celebrate this kind of graduation of the closing of the first cycle of the year of the seminary on the June 26th, they're going around and selling food, and we'll be visiting the brothers and sisters of the church in the area to kind of celebrate this closure time of this cycle.
Tenemos un apoyo maravilloso, ¿no? En ese sentido, con la participación de todas las iglesias de acá de Sicuani y otros presbiterios.
And so it's in this celebration, it's a very big celebration for the churches around the area, but also in the presbytery and everyone who comes to celebrate. So it's a big deal.
Y quedan invitados, pues, hermanos, para la clausura. Si no fuese posible, para diciembre, para la graduación de estudiantes también.
And you are all invited to join and come and join. And if not in June, you can come in December for the final graduation of the year.
Saludos a todos y saludos de cada uno de los estudiantes que están alrededor mío y que el Señor les bendiga y muchas gracias por este tiempo.
And I and each and every student who's around me right now or who can't be here, we all just send you greetings. May God bless you and thank you again for this time together.
Estoy dispuesto para responder alguna pregunta.
And if there are any questions, I am here to answer them.
Speak up.
The building where the classrooms are, and you want to build the dormitory, does the second floor already have an outside structure around it? And it just needs to be built on the inside, or does another whole part to the building need to be added onto the top?
Entonces, la estructura de donde ya hay las aulas y quieren hacer el segundo piso para los dormitorios, está preguntando si la estructura ya está, o como cemento y todo eso, o es más como no hay nada arriba y hay que construir todo.
La estructura ya está el piso, faltaría techar, ¿no? Pero con concreto, porque está proyectado para 3 pisos.
So the floor is there, probably because of the classroom roof. But no, there's nothing else. Like it would have to be, the cement and everything would have to be put in. And the idea would be to put even a 3rd floor on there as well.
Okay. So the what would be the floor of the dormitory on the 2nd floor is the roof of the classroom building right now.
Let me just make sure, that's what I'm assuming. But entonces el piso que sería el dormitorio es el techo de las aulas, ¿no ve?
Sí.
Okay.
Así es.
I guess that's the same construction style they did with the kitchen, dining hall, and the women's dormitory. The dining hall was
on the 1st floor.
Yeah, the dining hall was built and in use when they built the 2nd floor. That's common construction type in Peru. They've got the base rebar to go on the floor.
So you can build on the 2nd floor while the 1st floor is in use and occupied.
Yes.
Good.
Gary explica que es lo mismo que han hecho con el comedor y el dormitorio de las mujeres, ¿no? Y está preguntando si se puede construir, aunque abajo sigue funcionando, digamos, si hay gente y todo eso, si se puede construir arriba.
Normal, se puede construir.
Yeah. Yep. Probably a little loud, but you can do it.
How many of the students are men and how many are women?
Está preguntando por cuántos mujeres y hombres son en los estudiantes.
Esta vez tenemos menos mujeres, 7 mujeres, el resto es varones.
Oh, so 7 women and then it would be about 20 men to make up the 27. See?
Ajá.
Eso es menos que, eso es como un porcentaje un poco menos que normal.
Sí, porque a veces había más mujeres,
Ah, ya.
pero
So this
en
is
este ciclo hay más varones que mujeres.
Mhm.
Entonces tenemos 7 mujeres y 19 varones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying in past times there's been more women, but this is a different cycle.
I'll ask another one. How far do some of the students have to come from their hometown to the seminary when they're there?
Well, they sleep there, but you mean in general, like where are their home?
Yeah, are they like
Yeah.
walk, are they in town or are they from other parts of the country?
Está preguntando por dónde vienen los estudiantes. ¿Son de cercano, digamos, viven cercano o la mayoría son en las provincias de allá o es una mezcla?
Tenemos de 3 departamentos. Vienen de Arequipa, de Puno y la mayoría de Cusco. Y de diferentes lugares, ¿no? De diferentes lugares del Cusco. Del valle, de acá, de las alturas, así.
Entonces, ¿cuál sería lo más largo, digamos, que alguien tiene que viajar?
El de Arequipa.
¿Y esos cuántos? Eso no sé, desde Cusco.
Son 7 horas, creo, de viaje de Arequipa a Cusco. Y de Arequipa a su pueblo, unas 2 horas de más también.
No.
Sí.
So, he's saying, perdón.
Y los que viajan del valle también, de la convención.
Ah, sí.
Ajá,
sí. Es largo. So he's saying they come from 3 different departments of Peru. So there's, I guess, I don't have a map, but I guess there'd be Arequipa, which is kind of on the west and the side of the Pacific. Then you have Puno, which is more on the border with Bolivia and the mountains. And then you have Cusco, where the seminary is, but Cusco is a big department. So Arequipa is like a 7-hour bus ride or something. But then even from the bus station in Arequipa, they have to go a couple of hours to get to their village. And then even within Cusco, which is pretty big and has the high jungle and the low and everything, can be a pretty windy 7-hour, 6-hour bus ride. So from 3 different apartments, but it's a variety of traveling time.
So it's not close. It's a long trip.
Yeah, I think a lot of them come from, I mean, there might be some who are somewhat close, but I think a lot of them travel in, which is why they sleep there. I think, that thankfully they're able to accommodate that. Or working to accommodate that, yeah. Because there aren't as many, this is with the Evangelical Church of Peru, and I think within Peru, Pastor, ¿cuánto? I think there's only 2 seminaries, but ¿cuántos seminarios de la IEP hay en Perú?
Hasta el momento tenemos 2 grandes, diríamos así, de seminarios, Sicuani y Huánuco. Pero después hay institutos bíblicos, no son seminarios, ¿no? Entonces son institutos bíblicos como filiales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y son varias.
There are 2 kind of seminaries in Peru, where you can, get your bachelor's in theology and become a pastor. And then there are many other where we also have our partnerships with Bible institutes, and there are many of those which give courses, and you can do those, but you wouldn't become a pastor as such. It'd be kind of like lay theological training, and that you could use towards going to the seminary. I think there are many different degrees of theology in terms of working with the church within the IEP, at least.
Pero tenemos institutos bíblicos que son como filiales de acá de Sicuani, que funcionan en los presbiterios. Y también últimamente sigue funcionando el programa virtual que se ha iniciado en tiempo de pandemia. No hemos dejado este programa y tenemos 19 estudiantes al momento.
So he's saying the Bible institutes that he mentioned, some of them are affiliates with the seminary. And then because of the pandemic, they were able to start kind of a virtual program separate from the seminary. Like it's not just people signing in to do the seminary classes, but it's a separate virtual theological program. And they have 19 students for that, which for me is amazing because when the pandemic started, they tried to do a virtual program and could not get anyone on. So the fact that they kind of like worked through it and figured it out and now have like a separate program is just amazing, you know, to be able to reach more people and students. Digo que maravilloso, ¿no? Porque al principio ustedes ni podrían empezar a hacer clases virtuales, ¿no? Y ahora tienen un programa aparte de todo.
Así es.
Maravilloso. Ay, perdón. Se fue la luz.
Do all the graduates of the program, they all are able to find positions? Is that the challenge for women or for anyone in the program?
En todos los graduados, aunque sean mujeres o hombres, encuentran, digamos, un puesto en una iglesia como pastor o pastora. O...
Yeah. Más varones que mujeres. Mujeres dificultan para encontrar un ministerio, ¿no? Pero los varones sí están teniendo oportunidad de trabajar ministerialmente.
So more the men than women. It's still really difficult in the IEP, I think, for women to be in the church. Mm-hmm.
Pero igual ellas también están ocupadas, ¿no? En el ministerio, aunque no contratadas ni en prueba, nada, pero apoyan eficazmente.
So, but what happens is a lot of the women, even if they're not pastors, they support and do a lot of work in the ministries of the church. Maybe not contracted or, you know, as a pastor, but in other ways.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
General, please tell Pastor we really appreciate them joining us this evening, and thank them for allowing us to get the video of graduation in December. We really appreciate it.
Les agradecen por estar por ese tiempo esta noche, para que estén acá, y también por el video que ustedes, o sea, que han podido estar en la graduación en diciembre con el link. Eso les encantó.
Muchísimas gracias. Gracias por vuestro tiempo también, por escucharnos, y siempre lo llevamos en nuestro corazón. Les recordaremos siempre. Queremos más bien la visita del hermano Gary otra vez a Sicuani, y si es posible de todos.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you for just listening and being with us. And you are always in our hearts, and we are always thinking about you. And obviously would love another visit from Gary and everyone else in Sicuani.
We appreciate that. We hope to be there next year. Mary Jo and I are not traveling with the Kingwood group to Lima this year, but we hope to do it next year.
Se espera para el próximo año, están diciendo.
Okay.
I know. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Chenoa.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Por
Eso,
otro lado, también, claro, hemos pasado tiempos difíciles con el pastor Leopoldo Aguilar, que es también docente aquí, por la pronta partida de su esposa, ¿no?
So he's just mentioning, and I think I've spoken with you too about this Pastor Leopoldo Aguilar, who's been a very important partner, and also he's a pastor and a professor at the seminary. And he was just saying the challenges that he has gone through the pandemic and with the recent passing of his wife due to COVID, Jesusa, and is a dear friend of Pastor Santiago. So prayers for him and their family.
Yes. Yeah.
Bueno, creo que eso es, pastor, no sé. Creo que ellos van a seguir en su reunión y nosotros salimos.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Pero les agradecen. Sí.
Nos despedimos entonces.
Ya.
Adiós. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Bendiciones.
Bendiciones.
Chao,
Thank you
pastor.
all.
Bye.
Chao, hermano. Chao,
Chao, chao. Gracias, pastor.
Chao con todos.
Have a good rest of your meeting. Bye, all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chenoa.